Now, Nyako, who came into internet fame because of the platform TikTok and her very crass and loud manner of speaking and how she would get in, entangled in broils with everyone. There was always something. There was always some drama. But what people don't understand is how fickle this TikTok fame is how tired people get tired of, quickly people get tired of it because 1 minute she was a sensation. She was like, oh, I love Nyako. She is so, she's so authentic. She's so her. She's so, loud and nice. She says what she wants. She says what she means. And she does not take any apologies. People were rallying against or with Nyako for a hot minute. And then kukakakaka kidogo. Stories, scandals. Now everyone had an opinion about her life. Mara people were involving German authorities when it comes to Nyako. Mara she was being hounded by the tax people from Germany. Mara she was being called a scam artist. She was seeing no peace. Yani even her relatives were catching strays because of their relation to Nyako. And I just felt so bad for her because 1 minute she was on top of the world. The next minute she was trash. 1 minute, everyone was joining her lives. Ungeingia live ya Nyako. She always had something to say. She was always saying something. She was sitting down with politicians in Kenya. And then the next minute, nobody wants to be associated with this girl. But anyway, somebody apparently decided to ask her why she looks so old. And I just like, first of all, that's not a really nice thing to say to somebody. and I'm not laughing.
No, it's not.
It's just not a nice
funny.
thing to say to somebody that, why do you look old? And Nyako actually said, I am not old. I just happen to have a heart condition that makes me look older than my age. I am not old. And if you remember, like a few months ago, she had actually given a very interesting thing on TikTok by saying that even if she's alive in 3 years, it's going to be a miracle because the way her body is taking her, it's just not, she does not think she's going to live long. And she goes on to say, life is very short these days. Look at Marie, she was just 19 years old. Who wants their children to die so young? If you're alive, be thankful. It is a blessing, and living, it's just a matter of luck these days. 3 months ago, she said, if I am not dead within the next 3 years, I will be a living miracle. But in the end, all of us will die at some point, whether sick or not, death will come to everyone. What I ask is that you be careful about how you treat people. Do not hurt others. And I'm just like, who reduced you to such a shell of yourself? Who is this version of Nyako who is over here giving people moral advice? Aki, just treat people kindly. What happened to the version of Nyako that would have looked death in the face and said, I don't care? There was just that brave and confident Nyako that used to be there some time back. But I feel like because of the internet and people, she's just a very different person right now. She's just so lowly and just very sad over here giving people advice. And I'm just like, guys, when you become famous overnight, do not let it go to your head because the world will humble you. Ooh, life will find a way to humble you. Don't let the Nyako story be your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the funniest part of all of this, is that you never thought she would ever be this person. It's like it's a very different person from who we knew. Even with the fact that she said all those things that she'd said about the apartment that was owned by a YouTuber. Was that not her? When she was talking about she came to Kenya, went and to stay at an apartment which she found out later was owned by a YouTuber, and she was speculating that it was owned by Even guy. Like, it's a very different case when you hear Nyako speaking. It's almost uncomfortable hearing her be somber. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, it's almost like, oh, okay, that's what it, huh? It's almost uncomfortable for you to hear like a level-headed Nyako just being calm, putting her points across in like a very calm and collected way, without lashing at anyone, without abusing anyone, without people, piling on and making her even more agitated. Like, it's very unlike her. So I don't know, that felt awkward. But maybe again, it's a one-off thing, because the Nyako we know, this is like 1 out of 9 times that we've seen her. 1 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10, she's regular Nyako, fighting people on the internet, talking to all these people with such authority, such, such gusto, such opinionated perspectives. But that one time you see her somber, you're like, well, okay, this is weird. It's almost the same as the time when she was telling us about her situation and her parents, and how she ended up being a woman of the night. Like, that story was very, oh, okay, that's weird. I'm not used to seeing, I'm not used to seeing you being this vulnerable, and I don't know how to feel about this vulnerability. It's very uncomfortable for me. So can you go back to being the regular you, so I'm able to be, receive you the way I know how to receive? It's uncomfortable to receive her in her vulnerability. She doesn't, I don't know how that is, but she's the only human being so far who it's difficult to like perceive her being, lowly or humble or, I don't know, defeated. It's very unlike her.